Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spiritism at Noon. We are currently studying the book Empty Lives by the Spirit Joanna de Angelis. And we are on the last chapter, actually, in a subject that is called Happy Life. So last time we talked about this chapter and um, and there is so much there was so much that we brought into consideration and so we have today the continuation of this chapter, and I hope we will have the same interesting discussion that we had last time. So let me share the screen with you, and just a second. Okay, and we will continue reading from the text. Happiness depends on moral perfection. As long as one is misaligned with the sovereign laws, there will be torment and distress. However, every time one can overcome one or more character flaws, the closer to happiness one will be. Do not cease struggling against the negative tendencies that you have brought over from past lives when you fell short of the evolutionary agenda, preferring blissful responsibility to strict but liberating responsibilities. Joys reaped in an irregular, often criminal manner reappear today with a strong desire to do it again. I think we could stop here because there is already so much that she's talking. And the statement that she actually starts when she says that happiness depends on moral perfection. Uh, she's not saying here that it depends, how much education you have, how much money you have, where do you live, how big is your house, um, what's your weight and height and age. No numbers whatsoever. She's just talking about moral perfection. And the way we understand this moral perfection, because it's not like we can combine moral perfection with imperfections. It's not, oh, I'm going to become uh, a more altruistic person. I cannot become more altruistic if I'm still very selfish. I mean, I may have occasions where I will practice, altruism. I will try to help others. I will try to think about others more. But it's not that on the core of what we are actually changing. Having said that, of course, it is a step ahead. Okay, the more we practice it, like we mentioned last week, the how much we kind in a good way become addict to doing good, because it gives us, it nourishes us more, it nourishes our mind, it changes the chemical work of our minds and our brains, and so it really makes us feel good. So in this stage of evolvement that we're not there yet, it's only possible for us to get there when we start with those actions. So I'm not saying It doesn't matter because you're still not, you're doing all this because you still you still are selfish in nature. Yeah, we are, but we are already trying to change that. So it is like, in order for us to really say, I I possess this moral perfection, truly, it means we got rid of the imperfection that we had. There is a very good friend, Dr. Décio Yandoli, that he has a very good example. I love these examples. He say, those little cups that sometimes we put to drink water, to take medicine or whatever. He says, imagine that in this, each little cup has a label. So in this case, we are saying there is one little cup that it's called selfishness. And if you fill up with water, you reach the label where it's called altruism. So this is what we are doing little by little. The more I fill up the cup and reach the level of really becoming an altruistic person, the less selfish I am, to the point that I'm going to eliminate this personality trait. So the empty cup means we still act more, or even if you want to just to make it less confused, just call the cup altruism. Okay. And it's empty. So if it is empty, I'm the opposite of altruism. The more I fill it up, the more I'm getting there. So as moral perfection, because this is what will rid us from lingering and in whatever is not necessary for us to have peace, to feel happiness, and all that is related to becoming a better, more evolved spirit. So she says, having said that, again, right, that you want to know it, I can tell you in simple words. Happiness is completely related to moral perfection, but you cannot forget that you come from previous incarnations, and even in this one, where we are still struggling with old behaviors. And not necessarily we are able to deal with all of them, to rid ourselves from all of them. But it doesn't mean, like she says here, that we should not strive, struggle and go there to, to first acknowledge. Like we always say, if we don't acknowledge it, if we don't see that as a problem, how can I correct really something, right? I can't. So acknowledge, uh, uh, make a plan, right? Like for instance, when we are going to exercise, right? You can make a plan in terms, okay, I haven't exercised for a while, so maybe if I start a few times a week, half an hour, lighter exercises, little by little. It's the same thing. We have to exercise the muscles, just to say, without this becoming an aggression. That if I'm not exercising for 6 months and I decide to go to the gym and stay there working out for 5 hours, first, maybe I will not even be able to do that. And second, I will feel miserable the following days. And probably I will think that there is no point. I cannot do it, because we tend to go to exaggerations, right? either everything or nothing. So here is step by step, baby steps. And any comments that you may have or question at this point? Okay, so let's read a little more. Likewise, during one's current existence, many unwholesome habits give rise to anxiety and dissatisfaction that do not allow for one's peace of mind, an essential factor for finding happiness. Thus, moral vigilance is important, especially in an age of extravagant and cynical license. Knowledge of reincarnation is essential for a complete understanding of conduct based on the principles of the gospel of Jesus, an inexhaustible fount of the lustral waters of joyful living. Moral growth is the first and main goal of the evolutionary process. The spirit is created simple and ignorant and unenlightened. Within it are the educational values and essential objectives of evolution, like seeds of light awaiting fertile soil in order to germinate. So, one of the advices that she gave us is be watchful, you know, because the less we expect, here we are again engaging in the same behaviors that has caused us so much trouble in the past and will continue causing trouble to us today and in the future if we don't change. Uh, and reminding us that the process of growing has started from the point that we become spirits, right? That we were all created uh, in very, very simple and without knowledge of things. And little by little, we are going to be getting more and more understanding. We have the germ, the seeds here to become each time more enlightened. And each time more, we will be able to cope with or to deal with those, uh, flaws, character flaws that we have. But again, it's one step after the next. Because otherwise, like she says here, every time we engage in something that doesn't give us peace of mind, it is because it's not good. Right? Any comment? No.
Yes, then I believe it's not easy for us to face something we need to improve. And in my mind, it's every time when someone point problems about my behavior, okay, hurt me, but it's something I start to pay attention more. I need to improve. I need to work in this point. When Jesus mentioned about love your enemies, every time when happen with me this kind of situation, I always remind about this. Maybe it's someone close to me, but in that moment when hurt me, I think, wow, I need to love this person because she's point me something I need to work. And I think it's very important because for us, how can I improve? How can I work in something to improve my moral problems, tendencies, my bad tendencies, if I don't know about? If I really believe I'm very good person.
Yes, and that's so hard. I think, it is very complex also, everything, because there's so much history in our past, in our present, frustrations of any kind, psychological traumas that may lead us to go even to to fulfill to reward yourself. Oh, I deserve a gold star now, right? And sometimes, even though we know we behave very much like that, the child, that we come to the child and say, I give you a chocolate today, or I can give you two tomorrow if you don't have this one today. I mean, I think 90% of the time, or maybe 100, the child will say, I want the chocolate today. I mean, from my very narrow perspective, if a child gives you an answer that's, I don't want one today, give me two tomorrow, I would start worrying about that child. Because it doesn't seem like a normal behavior. So this is very much what happens with us. I need the gratification now. I need something to go and to cope with, with things, and so this is why it is hard, right, Sonia? It's very hard in so many aspects, especially when we are talking about relationship, because relationship, I mean, if we can not tame, right, take control of our little horse, imagine others. So now here I am, not exactly controlling my whims, my emotions, and I want to that in a relationship that involves two people, I want things to work in the way that I think it should be working. So it is hard. It is too much, I think, for us, right, to deal with. And I think the more we can realize that we can only control ourselves, and even then, not that much, uh, we do our part, because at the end of the day, the one that is going to put the head in your pillow is yourself, not the other one, and think about what happens during the day. So in this case, I think the fulfillment comes more from you acknowledging that you are capable of forgiving, understanding, and all those things, then the other person coming to you and say, "Oh, I forgive you. I know. I understand." I think the self fulfillment comes more from the step that you took to either stay in silence and not say anything, and then this is going to be more fulfilled, uh, or or you saying, I'm sorry, I really did something that I shouldn't. And even if the other person says, I don't care, you hurt me, you did something good. So that's, I think this is what we are aiming to our inner transformation. People hold grudges for nothing, right? And we cannot control that. Sometimes, yeah, maybe we did something that was more hurtful, but sometimes, people will have something against us that we don't even know what it is. I mean, it's a byproduct of their imagination, because they think that one day you gave more attention to a certain friend than it gave to him or her. And I mean, you don't even know. So that's why I think all the focus here in terms of a happy life is about you and your decisions. Um, is about you. When I say you, I mean us understanding what we should be doing, what's the way that we should be going. And again, this is a plan, okay, that we should strive to put in action, but we cannot expect to have 100% of results on the following days. Let's go back to that tiny little cup. Let's say that I'm capable of just putting one drop each day. At first, it's not, it will seem that there is nothing there. Then little by little, yeah, it's filling up, but it seems so little until it will come one day that there will be so much that is going to be spilling from the board, right? I mean, so this is it. It's important for us to understand that maybe now I can just put one drop, but it's one drop. And remember the mathematics that we talked about the other day, the zero, the one, where you place your one, if it before the zero or after the zero, it makes a huge difference, right? And so this is it. I think this is the only way that we can go through all that. If we require more than we are capable of doing, chances are we are going to give up and we'll have to restart all over again in a new incarnation when we have it, in the conditions that we will be able to have in that incarnation. So it may not be much, but it's improvement, it's progress. Okay. Within it, are the educational values and essential objectives of evolution, like seeds of light waiting fertile soil in order to germinate. The image of God in the spirit is waiting for opportunities, like a rough diamond awaiting to the cutting and polishing that will make it sparkle. Never regret having practiced the good, even when everything conspired against its realization. Never regret having been able to help, even if the one you assisted later hurt your feelings. Everything you do becomes a transcendental asset which reappears at the proper time on the human journey. Do not be deluded by the deceitful gleam of baubles that are highly valued and fiercely fought for. What is meant for you will come your way by unimaginable means because it is inscribed in the law of marriage that concerns you. So, I think it gives us a different perspective, you know, thinking about yourself like being a rough diamond. Okay. I don't care if I'm a rough diamond, I'm a diamond, right? So I have the potential to shine. There are, process that I will have to undergo in order to reach this shyness, right? Um, which is, the challenges of life that can be hurtful. I mean, from a diamond perspective, uh, it must be hard going through all the cutting, the polishing, and everything. This is what we are doing. We are removing the excess, like Michelangelo used to say about how he would produce, you know, uh, one of his famous statues, such a perfection, and how you mean he even knew what he was going to do with that block of marble. And he said, I mean, they are there. I'm just removing what it is the excess, right? So this is what is happening. We are a diamond, a shining diamond, but there is excess of layers that need to be polished and removed during the experience of life. This is the only way that we are going to awaken this, to become enlightened in a way. So this is the whole process. Uh, and again, baby steps, we can do that. I always like to, remind us, let's think about ourselves. We don't even you don't need even need to go that far. Maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and you look at certain behaviors now and you say, oh my God, I'm happy with myself. I learned something. I learned something, right? Any comment, question?
First sentence say the spirit is create simple and ignorant.
Uh,
And look us here learning. We are many steps ahead already.
yeah.
How long we walk already. Then we are able to look inside ourselves and see I need to improve. It means I walk. As you mentioned 2-3 years ago, how much I changed already.
Yeah.
And it's very beautiful, the sentence, then everything you do becomes transcendental asset. And we receive in the right time when we need as a marriage. Then it's very important to know about this. Every bless we receive is something we already done before.
And you see, Sonia, we could even, or some people could even say, oh, it's because you're getting older, and you're becoming more experienced, and that's why you're, changing your behavior. But what we see sometimes for those who have no kind of spirituality whatsoever is the older you get, the bitter you get as well, instead of becoming softer, and instead of uh, feeling more in peace. So sometimes there is more bitterness because it is the time where many may think about all the regrets they had of not having, taking the chance of doing more or enjoy more life or this or that. And now I'm about to die or this or that, and no. So it has nothing to do with aging, right? Because all of us are 3 years older than 3 years ago, 5 years older than 5 years ago. But it's not because of that. It is because really we are searching for something different, and becoming more in peace and balanced. So let's continue reading here.
Jussara, can I say something?
Sure.
Sorry.
Uh-huh.
I'm now I'm thinking, because I'm rereading all the books of Andrea Luiz. I didn't remember, so I'm reading again. And the time is passing, I'm getting older and bored, because I started reading. I realized that a lot of guys that I'm reading the book when die, in the process of this incarnation. I'm talking about fourth or fifth book, the disincarnation. No,
Okay.
all good persons did a lot of things to community for, and even though they had problems with during this moment, and I think I'm doing not so, wonderful things, and so I'm getting worried and say, what happened to me? I will go to Umbral. So each day I think I need to do more. I need to do more. What will happen to me? I don't know if you think about this, but every day I think I need to do more about me, about the world. I go to Umbral. I go to Umbral. I don't know if you had this inspiration like me. What do you?
I think this is absolutely normal, okay? And especially for new people when they begin reading this series of Life in the Spirit World by Andrea Lewis. Some of them will even stop reading because, it can be hard because reality is hard for us. I mean, it's very hard for us to face reality, right? um, we many times use this mask, this persona, even to ourselves. We hide it so well, what we are feeling, or all those things. I think, I don't know if you're gonna like the answer or not. I maybe not. But in my case, I'm in peace with that because I'm not expecting great things.
No, me too.
Because um I cannot think, I mean, this is my opinion, okay? My opinion, Jusara, that there will be any of us that has this knowledge, okay, that will go back, return to the spiritual world, and not feel that you could have done more.
Okay.
More is not necessarily go to to do and practice charity all the time, but it's more like Joanna de Angelis is saying here, taming your inclinations, the negative inclinations, all of there. That's so I don't think uh, it will be possible for any of us to feel um, completely happy with our results.
Okay.
We will look back and we'll say, oh my God, I had opportunities that I could have done more. It's for myself, for my personal growth that entails everything, working in your personality traits, in your moral, attaining moral perfection. So from the moment I took that out of the context, it became easier. It's not that I am accommodating and saying, whatever I do, I will get the same results. No, I'm not saying that. Again, it's like the drop. Okay. I did what I could, and I'm happy that I did what I could. Okay. I could have uh, marched 10 steps. I just did 4. Okay. Um, and let's move on. And this is what we see in the lives of Paul of Tarsus, Mary of Magdalene, of St. Francis of Assisi. They were all living in disarray. Some of them, like Paul is starting the persecution of Christian, killing people. Francis of Assisi going to wars to also participate in the killing of what was supposed to be enemies, worried about titles to become a knight and etc. and be prosperous. And all of a sudden, they switch it completely. But it was a process. I mean, they had to cope with their inclinations and all of that. So I think it's not that bad. And another thing that we have to think, because many of us that know the story about No Solar, we think, oh my God, if I could go to No Solar, it's good. No Solar is in the Umbral. No Solar is in the Umbral. So we are saying, I want to go to the No Solar, I want to go to the
But
Umbral.
but seems good there. I'm
Exactly.
wondering more.
So
No?
yes, exactly. So there are many levels, okay, of the umbral. In a neighborhood, you have many levels of, housing, right? So I think that we should do the best that we can, and who knows, we will be in for a surprise when you read, for instance, in No Solar. Andrea Lou is feeling so bad about himself, right? So bad, so much regret and this or that. And now of a sudden comes this woman embracing him and thanking him for his generosity when he was a doctor and he saw her family members. And I mean, there was so much gratitude. I think we will deal with all those things. There will be moments of surprise, like this one was from um, Andrea Luiz, and there will be moments of disappointment, but disappointment with ourselves. But regret only lead us to, I mean, not evolve into something more useful, only leave us in shadows. So uh, now that you are in control and you have your this kind of thoughts, do your best. And remember the widow's o obolo da viúva, you know, uh, it's not about much, it's about the possibilities that you have and that you were giving. And try your best to do the best that you can in relation to all that. There will not be perfection, there will not be fireworks when we go back there. Uh, you know, um, I think it's the best thing to do. But this is the situation. I mean, we do that in life, right? Because when you are going to, let's say that every 5 years, you make an assessment of what you did. And I bet there will be the same kind of results where you say, oh my God, I had that situation. I could have handled that better. This evolved to something that it still today bothers me or has impacted in my relationship with people, with family, with loved ones. And I was offered an opportunity to study, and I didn't, because I thought it was not the right time. I could do it later, but now, I can see that I lost my opportunity. I mean, there is no way we are going to get back there and not feel like that. What we cannot do is to feel miserable about it, especially now that we are still in control. Okay, you feel could have done more. There is still time. Catch up. do your best according to your possibilities.
Thank you, Gisela.
Yeah. Okay, so let's continue reading here. Likewise, suffering will reach you so that you may have a chance to change your behavior and make amends for any wrongs you have committed. Remember that the good is eternal and that evil is only its absence. Sacrifice yourself with joy if necessary, so that you may win the priceless treasures derived from a clear conscience where the laws of God are written. Nobody can cheat them because they are the life of lives. Practice simplicity and acceptance, gathering crumbs of righteous joys that will comprise the war of happiness that will one day sink within you. In a society devoid of noble idealism, yet rich with immediate vacuities and pleasures, which always contains the concealed gall of bitterness, it is worth renouncing what is immediate in order to find one's inner glory shortly thereafter. May yours be a happy life, resulting from the loved opportunities of service and love as you look to the future without concerns about guilt or belated regret. Be the manifestation of the good and of peace, whatever you are, and will find yourself in the midst of the kingdom of God, which originates in the joyful heart. So, um, removing the unnecessary layers that are covering our life is not going to be easy. It's a whole process. And but then again, uh, knowing what we know so far, having had the blessings of, you know, receiving so much and in terms of knowledge and understanding, let's try our best to put in, and perhaps our best and a little more to do what we know it is right. And this is, you know, the recipe. Everything that she has talked to us in this book, An Empty Lives, is with an aim to lead us to a happy life, to give us the necessary tools and knowledge so that we can little by little build the the steps that will lead us, you know, to really climb to higher places and to be more in tune with the higher spirits as well. Any comment or question?
It's very interesting, this sentence, carrying the crumbs of joy. Then, because in the beginning of this chapter, she mentioned about we are not able to really know the meaning of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Then, what we know about this is just the crumbles of joy. It means because we feel happy. We feel happy sometimes in our life. Something happened and we feel. But she mentioned it's far from the real happiness.
Yeah.
What we know is just a crumbles, small piece of this meaning. And it means the future could be better for us.
Mm. And again, and I always say I'm going to repeat that over and over again, not if, with a name of saying that it's okay to procrastinate, okay, to delay our evolvement or effort, but there is so much history in us. Um, I'm going to tell you a personal thing. That I travel a lot, even to, for the talks and spiritism, all of that, and other travels as well. I'm incapable of getting into a plane without taking food with me. At least I will have a cereal bar. I mean, I always have food in my purse. And although I know, or I can only imagine that this is related to life's years of starvation in the past, it's something that I still cannot prevent me from doing it. You see, so now I understand. Okay, I know that this might be a reason. I don't even sometimes, I have to even to throw out the cereal bar because it's been there in my purse for so long. And women that we have several, and then I have one in each, and then when I get the purse to use it again, there is one old one, and then but I have to have it. You see, how can this not be a trauma? So be merciful with yourselves uh, in terms of understanding that we are still in the steps of acknowledging and looking for means of overcoming that, of going in a different direction. Of course, this is a silly example. I have a trip coming soon, but I still don't know whether I'm going to do that or not. And being a vegetarian is even harder because normally there is nothing in the plane that they can serve that I really like to eat. But
You're
anyway,
vegetarian, Gisela?
yes.
Me
Uh, so, normally I always take something with me anyway, but yeah, but I feel that sometimes this is it. It's so we have millennia of frustration, repression, trauma, and all those things that we have to tackle now, to deal with now, even in the relationships with people when we are talking about, oh my God, this relative, it's so hard. Uh, it's been hard for 500 centuries. Now is the less harder version of this relationship, to see if it once and for all we change it not to become a burden anymore. So it is a whole process. Okay, I think coming back to your concerns, Marcel, uh, like the Pope once said, heaven and hell, it is a state of mind. So if we return there and say, I could have done more, but you did something, your conscience will be feeling good. You will be in a state of mind that you said, for the moment, I'm doing what I can. I It is in my long list of to-do list, things that I will have to deal more in the present, in the future. But let's be kind with ourselves, and just go with joy and optimism, and we will get there. There is no way we will not. Okay. So let's just do that. Any final comments or anything?
Yes, and remember when Andre Luiz was in the dark place and he remembered and start to pray,
Yeah.
he immediately had help.
Mm-hmm.
Someone help him and change him
Yeah.
from that place to
Mm-hmm.
another one. In another book, the group was there to help others and was mess and noise. And one of the member of this light of the group of light start to pray, and the praise spread the light over them, and everybody was quiet and listen about that prayer.
Yeah.
Never, always remember the prayer is a very nice tool we have to connect with the good.
Yes, exactly. So no, that's a great thing for us to remind, Um, and let's keep keep doing, what we can do. And I think, this gatherings, these studies are always good for us because it renews our commitment and to to pay attention on a weekly basis on what we're doing and how we could have done better and again in terms of our relationships being more uh, an example than a preacher because a preacher is not going to impact anyone, but examples are always stronger and are going to impact the lives of others as well.